President of ASGCC, Elise Dulay. We're excited to be your moderators this evening. We're also honored to bring you this event to you. It is important to our organization that the student body feels informed and connected to the college, especially during this pandemic. We hope that you walk away this evening with a better understanding of what the college has been doing to support students and dispel any uncertainties you may have. Many of us do not interact with our college leaders on a day-to-day basis or have an understanding of their roles and responsibilities. And tonight we get the opportunity to meet and connect these leaders to you.
Thank you, Nyah. So tonight's series of questions were developed by ASGCC and through questions that were submitted by students, faculty, and staff earlier this week. After this event, you will also have the opportunity to share additional questions with us via the evaluation form that Nyah will be sharing at the end of the event. So I am honored today to be introducing our panelists tonight who will be introducing themselves. Dr. Viar, our Superintendent and President of Glendale Community College, Dr. Ritterbrown, the Vice President of Instructional Services, and Dr. Schlossman, the Vice President of Student Services. I'll pass it on to Dr. Viar.
Thank you, Elise, and welcome to all of you participating in tonight's town hall. And it's a great privilege for us to have an opportunity to visit with you and to learn some of the concerns and questions that you have about our great college, Glendale Community College. I am the Superintendent President of the college and work directly with the elected governing board to establish the policies and oversee the direction that the college is taking to serve our greater Los Angeles community as we do. I've been here now into my 8th year as the president. And prior to that, I was the president for 8 years at American River College in the Sacramento area. Prior to that, serving with the statewide association as its executive director, providing advocacy support for the community colleges across the state of California and helping our local governing boards and our CEOs be the best leaders that they can be. And it is indeed a privilege that I have to finish my career here at Glendale Community College in a great community and with a great group of faculty, staff, and students. So welcome to all of you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Viar. Dr. Schlossman.
Thank you, Elise. It's really a pleasure being here with all of you tonight. And I would like to thank the ASGCC, not only for inviting me, but also for putting on this event. I had a great time with the town hall that you did in the spring, and I'm glad to be back. And I'd like to thank all the students who are participating. I hope that you've gotten off to a great start as we close the second week of the fall semester. And I hope that's a great springboard to a really, really successful and productive remainder of the fall semester for you as well. I'm the Vice President of Student Services, and I have the pleasure of working with Dr. Viar and Dr. Ritterbrown and the other Vice Presidents, as well as all of our student services. So without naming them all, what we mean, or what I mean when we're talking about student services, is all of your counseling related services, admissions and records, financial aid, student affairs, all of your student activities, the Welcome Center, intercollegiate athletics. So it's just been a great experience in the little over 2 years that I've been the vice president. And next month in October will mark the 27th year I've been at the college. So I've been here longer than, well, I hate to say it, longer than most of you students have have been around, but it's been a wonderful experience, an incredible college to work at for all of these years, and that's why I've stayed so long, and I'm glad the college has had me. I've served in various other positions prior to being the vice president, most recently as Dean of Student Affairs. So I think Dean O'Kyan is also in this event. So I was happy that she succeeded me in that position when I moved to the vice president's chair. So I look forward to the questions that you have for us tonight and interacting with you. Via Zoom. The only downside is that we don't get to do that in person. So I hope that day comes soon.
Thank you so much, Dr. Schlossman. Dr. Ritterbrown?
I'm unmuting. Thank you. Sorry. Still getting used to this. Thanks very much, Elise. And thank you for inviting me tonight. As Elise indicated, I am the Vice President of Instructional Services, and I've been with the college now for 23 years. I started as an adjunct English instructor, so that was a long time ago. I would like to echo Dr. Schlossman's sentiments that I hope your semester is starting well. All indicators are that students are doing well in this environment. I know it's difficult for everybody, and I would like to say that I think that the success we've had up to this point is a tribute to our students who have adapted and their dedication to their education, as well as our faculty and our staff. So I really appreciate the effort that everyone has put in. We have data that indicate that largely this has been successful and that students are moving forward with their educational goals. So I compliment you all for that. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Ritterbrown. Okay, so to start off with all of you guys, let's start off with a more lighthearted question for everyone. What is something new that you have discovered about yourself or a loved one? We can start off with Dr. Viar.
Oh, sure. You start with me. What I've discovered is what I knew deep down, and that is we actually can live together in close quarters and with constant sharing of everything from games to TV to streaming video. So I think that's probably the one thing that has been enhanced, and I've been reminded of family's important, and I have a special family, and we can all get along close together.
Well, I'll chime in. One thing I've learned about myself is that you can teach an old guy new tricks. I've upped my game with all my technology skills. I'm not quite where I need to be, but I've really improved. So I'm operating pretty well in this remote environment. And I've learned that I really do love to read. I've taken on more reading for pleasure because there's only so much Netflix and Hulu that I can take. So that's been great. And as I've told some other people, I've learned what our dog does all day. Besides sleep, he likes to look through the gate and bark at people as they go by. So I have to quiet him down or put myself on mute when I'm on Zoom. And, as Dr. Viar said, how important family is. Not that I needed to learn that, but it was certainly, this has been a reminder how important family and friends are during these difficult times and their support and encouragement. So those are a few things for me.
Well, thanks, Dr. Schlossman. I would echo those sentiments. And I would say that in addition to learning how loudly my dog snores in meetings, I've really appreciated being 20 feet from my son all day long and participating more directly in his learning. In terms of he's a sophomore in high school now, and just being able to have him come downstairs and ask me questions about French, which I studied 30 years ago. But it's been that's been a real positive, I think, for us.
Thank you all. I really have to echo all of your sentiments because I really enjoy being around my family during all of this. So Dr. Viar, we have over 3,000 new students who are experiencing college for the first time in this environment, and I think some of them are in this Zoom room today. What advice do you have for them?
For our new students, Elise, I would say try to get as much knowledge as you can about what the college has to offer. We are making available through our website and through the connections with the students' Gmail and all of the information that is available. Know what services we have, take advantage of those services, recognize that student government and other areas of our college are putting on a lot of activities via Zoom for students to help engage them in the life of the college as it is today. So don't just feel like I'm going to stay home and do the Zoom classroom and do what I have to do and feel that I am trapped in my home just doing the work. Connect, and you can connect. It's not as special as one-on-one, but there are lots of ways to connect. And so that's what I would urge our new students. Learn as much as you can about our services, take advantage of those services, and get yourself involved in the student engagement activities being offered. It'll help you feel more a part of our great Glendale Community College.
That's definitely something that like I've taken at like starting off, probably like even in high school. Just being a part of clubs, being a part of different organizations has definitely made me feel more close to home, to school, even though like sometimes school can like really be hard. Just having those extra things to do and make sure that school is enjoyable helps me out academically as well. Thank you for that. So Dr. Schlossman, what kind of resources does GCC have to help students stay involved and engaged with the community?
Gosh, that's perfect segue to this question, because Dr. Viar and you, hit on the importance of being engaged and being connected with the college. And that's true whether you're in person or in the remote environment like we are now. And it really goes to enhancing your overall college experience, which certainly in this environment is a challenge, but I think we are responding, and not just in student services, but across the college in really creative ways to help students connect and be engaged. And the ASGCC plays a major role in that as well, because student activities and campus activities don't stop just because we're doing them remotely. I would encourage all the participants today to get on the college's homepage and check the college calendar. There's a link right on or a drop-down menu right at the top of the page, which is going to show you the calendar, which is already populated with a lot of activities, workshops. There are events from right now, when I looked at it today, Black Scholars, the Multicultural and Community Engagement Center, the GCC Learning Center has workshops planned, ASGCC's Welcome Week. So it's really been a challenge that I think we've met in very, very creative ways to keep engagement activities out there for students. And I think it's going to, well, I know it's going to increase as the semester goes on, because there is club registration coming on. So when we get 50 or so student clubs hosting events and meetings, even more opportunities. And you'll see, if you get on the student services webpage, if you just search for student services, it'll take you to a main webpage for all student services. And you're going to see ways to connect with services, not just via email and phone and all of that, but live help, where you can connect and do live office hours through Zoom with our faculty and staff, in addition to counseling appointments through Cranium Cafe and such. So I think we put a lot of time and effort and resources into making the remote environment as easy and convenient and responsive for students. So that's just a couple of things, but there are more and more. And as we get better at doing these things, I mean, I think we'll see more opportunities and more creative ways to keep students involved.
Thank you so much, Dr. Schlossman. So, Dr. Ritterbrown, now that GCC has fully moved to a remote setting, there are a lot of students who don't have access to an internet connection in their homes and or access to a computer, and they're really being hindered to excel in their studies. I know that we have we've been talking about this resources for student engagement, but what, if any, resources could help students technologically?
Thank you, Elise. This has been a big concern for us, both on our Garfield campus and our Verdugo campus. We have endeavored to make available to students the technology that they need to keep up with their educational goals, to engage properly. We have purchased hotspots, and I think everybody knows what that means, but we have purchased hotspots. We are in the process of purchasing more, and we have purchased Chromebooks for students to use both on the Verdugo and the Garfield campus, and laptops. We are also working to provide access to students to specific software platforms that are necessary for their educational goals. And this would include things like engineering and animation and others. So we're really working to provide the access to technology. And I would encourage students to go to the library website if they have technology needs that are not being fulfilled. We are working to make sure that those needs are met. And it's not just technology. I think we're also looking at things like studio arts. Students need paint, they need brushes, they need other things, and we are endeavoring to provide those to students and allow them to pick those up. We've also purchased things like potter's wheels so that ceramic students can continue their can successfully continue their studies. So we really are trying to do our best here and bring the resources that we have to bear on these issues. And I think it's really important to me that students let us know what they need, because we can't fill the need if we don't know that it's there. And they can contact me directly. They can also contact the library with regard to technology needs, and they can contact their instructors directly with regard to things like studio arts and ceramics. Does that answer your question?
Yes, it does. Thank you.
Elise, if I might add one thing, Dr. Ritterbrown and I, not long before this event, were talking on the phone about how to get a microscope to an international student in Indonesia. So when Dr. Ritterbrown says, we really want to hear what your needs are, I think that's a good example, and that's going to happen.
Yeah, thank you so much for that. And I think an issue for a lot of students is they don't know that you three are accessible, and that College Exec is really accessible for all of us. So thank you.
Thank you guys for that. Now a question for you all. How are college leaders addressing equity, diversity, access, and inclusion at GCC?
Michael, why don't we start with you, and then Paul, and I'll wrap it up.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Viar. You know, I think we are in a unique time right now in terms of those issues. And I think that, I know that the college leadership is committed to equity, diversity, anti-racism, and anti-bias. And I think that what's unique about this time is that we're not just committed to it for a moment. We are committed to sustaining the efforts to further those goals. And from an instructional perspective, I've been very impressed with the response from our faculty and our staff in terms of addressing this very directly and sustaining our effort to address it. Curriculum and instruction is the committee that deals with what you all encounter in the classroom. And one of the first things that we did was to adopt a task force in curriculum and instruction that will address how we provide content and awareness in all of our classes with regard to anti-racism and anti-bias. And this was something I think that we didn't do before simply because we weren't aware. And now it is clear to us that biology classes have a responsibility to provide not only content which helps students to feel, which increases inclusion, but also to make instructors aware of the barriers that certain areas have provided or have in the past without consciousness. And I will say that I don't believe that any of our faculty are overtly racist or overtly biased. I think that this is a lot, that most of this is about educating and really providing access to the resources that are necessary with regard to anti-racism and anti-bias. And the fact that curriculum and instruction has established this task force and established a rubric for classes across the curriculum is a really important step. Our academic affairs has also put this on our agenda as a standing item, and we will continue to commit to addressing the issues that arise from this. Does that answer your question?
Yes, it does. Thank you.
Yeah, echoing Dr. Ritterbrown's thoughts and building on that, as far as how we're addressing this, and perhaps Dr. Viar might speak more on this, but just the administrative executive team, which is Dr. Viar and the vice presidents, we had come up as a group with a list of 13 commitments or actionable items that we have made the commitment to ensure that those will happen. And we're looking at a lot of different areas at the college to promote diversity, equity, inclusion, anti-racism, and such. And that list or those commitments are really are serving as a template for the rest of the college to follow our lead and our commitments that we've made as the executive team for the institution. Bringing that down to student services. Our student services cabinet, which is the group of 20 managers in student services. We've had our own discussions during our cabinet meetings and in fact have come up with our own list of actionable items or actionable goals that we want to complete this year to address these issues. And on top of that, individual student offices are conducting their own in-service trainings and workshops for their staff, as well as students. For example, most recently, our CalWorks program had contracted with Dr. Eddie Moore, who is a consultant and who will be providing training both for the staff and the CalWorks students. And I think the students will see, the whole college community will see the programming that will be sponsored this year by the ASGCC, the Multicultural Center, Student Equity Program, the Cultural Diversity Program, and other departments on campus that will make diversity, equity, and inclusion a focus of their events and their workshops and their offerings to the college community. So it's been a real collective effort. And I will echo what Dr. Ritterbrown said as far as, we're not just doing this for a short time. No, this is something that we are committed to making part of our, really our everyday operations.
And I'll just conclude by hitting first the title of what Dr. Schlossman was referring to, a commitment to creating and upholding an anti-bias and anti-racist learning environment at GCC focused on diversity, equity, and inclusion. That is what he's referring to as the shared statement, but it is a shared view of the leaders of our college throughout our academic senate, our unions, our classified staff. We are committed. Approximately 6+ years ago, we developed a vision statement that is the aspiration of what we want to be at GCC and that we are going to continue to work to achieve, and that is to be the greater Los Angeles region's premier learning community. And here's the key, where all students achieve their informed educational goals. So 6+ years ago, we made a statement that said we are committed to seek to assure that all students achieve their goals at GCC. And so that's important. It's all students. That's where the diversity, equity, and inclusion comes in. That's where we must not have an environment of racism and bias. All students will not be successful if we do not have the right environment for learning. And so we've been working on it through a variety of committees, through a variety of activities and professional development, and the present moment where we need to make a declaration and make it very clear that Black Lives Matter. We also want to keep working hard to make sure that racism and bias are not on our campus and that all are welcome and being successful. So that's our commitment. That's what we're working on. And it is an ongoing effort, not easy to achieve. And our board of trustees and our college groups all look closely each year at what are the accountability numbers that are in place that are showing what progress we're making and where we're falling short, and how we can readjust and establish some new goals to get us to the point where we can proudly declare that all are included, all are successful, and all are achieving within a decent range, regardless of who they are and where they come from.
Thank you so much, all of everybody. And I just want to echo that the Associated Students is doing the same. We are having trainings as well internally. And I think it's really important that everybody understand that GCC has no tolerance for any racist acts. To move on to the next question, we talked a little bit about access, and I think we touched on that in the last question. But student basic needs have become a greater challenge for our students today. What steps is the college taking to support students with challenges such as food, employment, and housing insecurities that can negatively impact their student experience? And this is a question for Dr. Viar.
Elise, it was about 1.5 years or so, possibly a little longer ago, that a national study went out identifying the challenges of students in universities and community colleges related to the needs that they had, the basic needs, and that they were not being met, and that was affecting their learning. And as a result of that national study, a look at it across the community colleges in the state, and our own survey of our students made it very clear that this was a problem and something that needed to be addressed. We established a task force to take a look at what was going on at our college, what things we could possibly do, and what things we could seek to accomplish. And that group made a strong recommendation that in spite of the difficult fiscal times, we wanted to name a position, the manager of student basic needs, and to have a full-time administrator who would work within our community of the college as well as out in our external community and address the basic needs of students related to housing, food, transportation, technology needs. And so I am pleased that Andre Manukian was appointed as the interim manager so that we could move quickly on this. And he already has been developing a variety of exciting and I think truly not only potential, but truly we can put in place these plans that will allow us to address these major student basic needs issue and be very proud of where we are at the college. So those are our initial steps, and we're going to be seeing more, and a lot of that will be involving student government and the leaders of the students who are serving on the variety of committees we have.
Thank you so much for that answer. I think that basic needs is like a really big part of even being able to be successful at school. So having food, having computer access, internet access, making sure that all students are able to even have those basic needs is definitely important to success overall. So thank you.
It was unfortunate that due to the coronavirus and the pandemic, we had to shut down our food pantry for being open on a regular basis. But the efforts that the college and leadership made to join with the LA County Food Bank and have the drive-in food bank available here on our campus, but also plans are underway, and I think if they haven't been announced yet, very shortly to return to an option for students to come to the campus and pick up a box of food for a particular period of time, and to do that on a scheduled basis so that we can do it meeting all the health requirements. So that's exciting unto itself.
Dr. Viar, I think the students can look forward to some announcements towards the end of the month after the basic needs program has moved into their new, more permanent setting. So look for that. And as Dr. Viar mentioned, that will be on an appointment basis, and there will be a schedule. Preliminarily Tuesday through Thursdays with appointments made through Square or Sign Up Genius. I'm not sure which one at this point. And then you'll also see announcements about emergency grants for students, that we have some outside funding as well as funding from the Glendale College Foundation that has made those possible. And in addition to emergency grants from the Basic Needs Office, the Financial Aid Office will also be offering emergency grants through their own application process, or well, in conjunction with the Basic Needs Office. So very shortly, within the next couple of weeks, students will see a lot of opportunity to get the assistance they need during these tough times.
Thank you for informing the students about that. And speaking about resources, a student working towards a music transfer degree, which requires live performance and ensemble courses, asked how those courses will be playing out in the coming months. How is GCC supporting students in classes that require special accommodations like those that would typically be done in person? And this is a question for Dr. Ritterbrown.
Yes, thank you. And I would begin by saying that the dedication and innovation of our faculty in those areas has been amazing. And they have organized mechanisms by which students can participate in theater, in music, in ceramics, in studio arts, on a virtual basis. And we have, as a college, supported those efforts entirely. So I really feel that and this is evidenced by the success and retention in those classes. I really think that people have really risen to the challenge where this is concerned. And one of the things that impressed me most was in speaking with studio arts and theater and music faculty, that what they said is they made new discoveries about what is possible in terms of teaching virtually, and in some cases, what they will continue to provide to students after this crisis is over. So I'm really impressed with their efforts, and I feel that the college has done everything that we can to support them. And if there are concerns from students about gaps in our ability to provide the services they need to make them successful, I hope that I'll hear from students.
Thank you so much, Dr. Ritterbrown. So this is a question for Dr. Schlossman. Because of our remote learning environment, work study for students has been negatively impacted. What is the college doing to restore some of those opportunities for students this year?
So good question. Thanks, Elise. I'll start off by saying when we went into the remote mode last spring, the college continued to pay all of the student workers and support them through the spring semester. But, you know, long term, that's just not sustainable given the budget issues and, you know, the difference in the need for student workers in the remote environment. But what I will say is we currently have about 150 student workers on the student worker payroll right now, but very few of those student workers are performing duties in person. In fact, there are a select few that are really essential. As an example, we have animal caretakers in the biology area that obviously you can't take care of a snake virtually, so they do have to come and do that in person, I mean, obviously. But the availability of student jobs really depends on the needs of the particular offices and if they have work that students can perform remotely. So those 150 or so students are all doing remote work, and it could be in the CalWorks program, for example. They have peer mentors who are paid to do virtual or online mentoring with students. Tutors through the Learning Center are tutoring online. Welcome Center, our student ambassadors are helping students, you know, via Zoom and other modes. IT, you know, the technology wing of the college has students working virtually. One big one that was launched in the spring out of our career services area was Canvas Live Help. And look, US students are more expert than any of us are on the ins and outs of Canvas. So there are opportunities, but again, they're a little more limited. And it's for remote work. The final thing on this, the Career Center or the Career Services is open to assist students with job searches. In fact, if students get online for career services, there are jobs posted on the College Central network, and the staff is available to work with students to help connect them with those positions.
Thank you so much for that, Dr. Schlossman. A question for you all. Of course, the question everyone is thinking about: when are you anticipating reopening the campus, and what would the reopening stage look like?
Dr. Ritterbrown, you get to kick it off.
Okay, thank you. It's difficult to say when we would reopen the campus. The answer is that we will, our primary concern is the safety of our students, our staff, our faculty, and the community. And we will reopen the campus when we have reasonable certainty that safety is assured. And at this point, we don't have a timeline for reasonable certainty. We're certainly monitoring this carefully, but I think I think everyone needs to be aware that this isn't just a matter of limiting the number of students in a classroom, and what that would mean in any sort of reopening capacity, which we are not anticipating at this point, would mean reducing the number of students by about 75%. So it's not that's not a reasonable consideration for us. But beyond that, I think that everyone needs to be aware that it's not just about classrooms. It's about hallways and elevators and stairwells and bathrooms and all of those considerations that we are responsible for. And I think that we take those responsibilities very seriously. And I'm responsible for instruction, but I believe that those considerations are instructional considerations in that we must ensure the safety to the degree possible of those that we serve, and to the community that those individuals go back out into. So it's something that we discuss every day, and I know that the hope of many people, most people, is that all people that we return to a campus life that looks like what it did before this pandemic happened. But we must ensure that if we do that, we do it responsibly.
Well said and completely said. We don't need to say anything more on that.
Thank you. Kind of connecting to that, will athletes be able to compete in the spring? This was asked by an athlete in the room.
You want me to tackle that one, Dr. Viar? I got it.
Go ahead, you're over the athletics area.
Okay, look, the California Community College Athletic Association is our governing body for intercollegiate athletics in the community college system in our state. And so the 3C2A and all of the athletics conferences, the athletics directors and such have been holding, regular discussions, regular meetings on reopening plans for athletics. And I think there is another review and vote coming up in October. Currently, as you may know, all of the fall sports seasons have been postponed. So that's impacts football, cross country, volleyball, can't name them all off the top of my head right now, but they've been postponed and moved to the spring. And that was done actually in the summer before the official start of the fall practices and fall sports seasons. So the plan right now is, at least on paper, is yes, or the hope is that they can start in the spring, but really, this relates to what Dr. Ritterbrown was really talking about, really the health and safety of our student athletes, our coaches, all of our support staff in athletics, and to our broader community. And we're closely watching what is happening on the four-year college level, the NCAA schools that have opened with football in the fall. And the challenge is they have a more controlled environment than we do with student athletes, housing them on campus with strict protocols, safety protocols, and such. And we don't have that luxury with our athletics program and our resources. So the short answer is the plan, or the hope, which has been communicated by the 3C2A is yes, we'll have intercollegiate sports in the spring, but that is really going to depend on the circumstances with the pandemic closer to that time. So I'm hopeful, but we'll see.
And I'll go ahead and just take it one step further. Dr. Schlossman is accurately portraying the situation, but I would say that it is unlikely that we will be able to return to athletics for the spring. We hope we can, but it is unlikely. We have seen our universities across the country move quickly in some cases and move with far more resources to bring athletics back, to bring students back to the campus. And I have not seen the success of those universities who have tried to do that. They have had significant cases of COVID that have come up. They have shown that we are not yet ready as a nation, as colleges, as universities, to be back to normal or even close to that. So I think it's just important for the reality to be understood. We would like to have athletics back as soon as possible. It's an integral part of our curriculum. It's an important aspect of the growing and development that we are about for our students. But again, as Dr. Ritterbrown said, the health and safety of our students, our faculty, our staff, and the community for which all of our students go back to is important and is the highest part of our decision making. So I just wanted to reference that.
Thank you so much. And before we move on to our last question, I just personally want to say thank you all for keeping us safe. I know that personally, I would like nothing more than to go back to GCC and back to the campus, but then I wouldn't really be thinking of my own safety. So thank you all for thinking of that for us. So for the last question, it's been almost 6 months since we have been in quarantine. As we've addressed during the panel today, students are facing many challenges. How do you find a way to stay positive and hopeful during these unprecedented times?
Well, for me, as the oldest one in the group, I can look back over a variety of times. I can think about things that my parents and grandparents shared with me about what they went through, whether it was the Depression, whether it was World War II, the Korean War, whether it was the Vietnam War, whether it was civil rights battles fought for good causes. There are so many different situations that have come up, major recessions, significant fiscal challenges, and we as human beings, I believe, are up to those challenges. And so we reach into our inner selves, we reach to our friends, and we build the support network we need to know, yes, this may affect a year of my life, but it's generally a year of my 85 plus year life, and I will overcome it. We will move on. We will learn from it. And someday we will look back and talk about what we learned, what made us better of having lived through it. And so that's what I continue to look back on. Yes, this is a challenge, but we can and we have overcome it, and I can too. And it is special to be in a role where we can help each other be our best and go forward.
Elise, I'll go next. I think it's all of you, and our faculty. I came to community college 23 years ago, and I immediately understood the value of what it has to offer, that there is no better thing than I could do with my life than to give everyone who wants a chance at a college education that opportunity. And I remain focused on that. And what keeps me positive now is that all of you have risen to this challenge, that you have, you are persevering. And there, to me, that's just a very inspirational.
Yeah, I'll echo those thoughts. You know, the word that comes to mind is resilience. And I'm just really, really encouraged by the resilience all of you students are showing during just an unprecedented time. So that is definitely what keeps me going. you know, and the commitment that Dr. Ritterbrown had talked about, I'll echo that as well. The commitment to, you know, student success that that I have, and why I got into this profession in the first place. I mean, that's what, at the core, what keeps me going. In addition to the resilience of all of our students, I think about the resilience and creativity of our staff and faculty. And you know, I'll say this: we have everybody working hard remotely. But we also have staff working on site behind closed doors in admissions and records and financial aid. And they're dedicated. They're coming in every day to make sure that the student business is taken care of, that all of the admissions and records needs of our students are met, and we're getting the financial aid in the hands of our students. And then, you know, those are our folks working on site every day in the offices, and the same thing is happening with all of our faculty and staff remotely. And that is really inspiring too. So not only are you as students committed to your education, but our faculty and staff are committed to your education as well. And it's really made me proud to serve as the vice president, not just in my areas, but, you know, for the entire college, and to see these efforts, and you know, that is what keeps me positive, and keeps me inspired, and gets me through the frustrating or down days that we're all experiencing during this very difficult time. So gotta focus on those positive things that are happening.
Thank you all for sharing that. Even for me, sometimes it's hard to stay positive when you feel like you're trapped at home. But then I remember how fortunate I am to be here, healthy and with my family. It also helps knowing that I have my friends just a phone call away, a text away, to help me motivate through all of this and just keep me going. But overall, we thank you for joining us, and we thank everyone here who came to watch this College Leaders Town Hall. Thank you, Dr. Viar, Dr. Ritterbrown, and Dr. Schlossman, for your time and all that you do for our college, both in person and remotely. To everyone in the audience, thank you for staying online for the full hour. I hope this town hall was informative. If you have any additional questions, please submit them to the feedback form. The link will be in the chat. And we all hope you have a wonderful weekend. Thank you for sticking around.
Thank you for inviting us.
Thank you, Elise.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, ASGCC.
Thank you for being here.